Coming up, we're going to help you prepare for a new world that needs new skills. We'll tell you what the principle of the pencil is. We'll take your calls, your chats, and so much more. It all starts right now. We are coming to you live from Ramsey Studios in Nashville, and you are joining a conversation about who you are, what you were created to do, where you want to do that, and how to get there. In short, it's all about you and the work that the world needs from you. You are, in fact, needed tremendously. Somebody out there needs you to be you. And so here on the Ken Coleman Show, we want to help you get that clarity. And you do have the answers. Simple breakdown. We're going to look at what you do best, what you love to do most, and the results that matter most to you. When you can combine all three of those areas, you are in your sweet spot. You are doing that work that the world needs from you. And as a result, you have tremendous meaning, and that is the path to meaningful work, and that's what we want to walk you down. So excited to have you with us. 844-747-2577. 844-747-2577. You can also submit your questions in the chat window right next to the video window. I've got the computer open. We'll get to those questions. I implore you, please make them directed to the point, or else just call in. And you can call in live right now, 844-747-2577. Madison, the associate producer, is standing by. She's very kind, and she'll get you all ready to go to submit your question. So we'll get to that. But I want to talk to you about something that is really, really important. The world at work is changing, folks. And as a result of the change, you're going to need to change with it. It is a new world that needs new skills. Great content here from a business.com article. And I want to just read a little bit from it, and then I want to give you what you need to do as a result of this information. The sheer speed, scope, and impact of technological change is challenging businesses and society at large. Now listen to this. This is unbelievable. 1 in 3 jobs is likely to be severely disrupted or to disappear in the next decade because of this technological change. This disruption could affect almost half of all low-skilled jobs and 1/3 of semi-skilled jobs. The World Economic Forum estimates that upskilling, and we'll get to that in just a moment, upskilling the 1.3.7 million workers in the U.S. whose jobs are currently threatened will cost $34 billion, or in other words, $24,800 per person. Now, that's the context here that you need to understand. As technology changes, companies are going to have to change, which means what? The change is coming, and it's going to either be a situation where you make the changes or you're forced to make the changes. So you either make them on your own and you get ready for this, or it's going to be forced on you and you don't want that. All right, let's talk about upskilling. This is really good. Upskilling means giving people the opportunity to gain the knowledge, tools, and abilities they need to use and understand advanced and ever-changing technologies in the workplace and in their daily lives. Okay, so obviously as technology changes, the things that you do naturally, they're going to still apply, but there are some actual skills. And so this is just simply learning new things to be able to function. And remember, not just in your work life, but we're all going to have to continue to adapt as we all have. I mean, you think about all the technologies that are normal to us now, they weren't normal to us 10 years ago. All right. In 2019, many large corporations declared they would make serious investments in their people. Amazon is an example. They announced a $700 million investment to upskill 100,000 workers. Now, companies, whether they're small or large, they're going to have to do this. I'm just telling you. Now, the larger companies will do this sooner. They'll be ahead of the curve because they have the resources to do so. But I'm sharing this with you, the worker and the leader who's listening and watching. Both the leader and the worker have got to be aware that technology is going to force upskilling to happen. And again, the change is coming on your terms or their terms. It's just that simple. And so I just want to give you a heads up that if you are looking to the future and you're thinking about your industry and you're paying attention to how technology is going to change and where it could evolve to, when you begin to see that wave coming, and you will, it's like getting out in the ocean. And, when I take my kids out every summer, we get out in the water and I'm trying to help them catch waves. I'm looking way out to see, okay, let's wait, let's pass. We don't need to do anything about that. This is the wave. And so you'll see it coming. And I want to make sure you understand that upskilling is something that's going to be put in your lap. I want you to be prepared for it, but most importantly, accept it, embrace it, and you'll move ahead faster than most. 844-747-2577, the number, 844-747-2577. The questions are already coming in the chat room, so excited to have those. We'll get to those momentarily, but to the phones we go. Brandy's on the line in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, the city of brotherly love. Brandy, you're on the Ken Coleman Show.
Hi, Ken. How are you?
I am living the dream, Brandy. What's going on today?
Yeah, I'm calling because I'm looking to do a career change. I'm 27 years old, and I've been working in technology for some time, and I find myself, getting really bored with it.
Mm-hmm.
I know that I'm interested in real estate and then doing some, I'm also interested in doing, some type of creative role.
Mm-hmm.
So I thought about, possibly doing architecture, but I'm not sure what to do with this information now.
Okay. Here's what we need to do. The first thing we need to do is stage one of the path to meaningful work for you and everybody else, Brandy, is to get clear. And so I love that you got two really exciting ideas. You know that you're interested in both of these, real estate and architecture. So let's have some fun for a moment. Let's not overthink it. Let's see what our heart tells us, okay? So of those two, if I could guarantee you success in both, you were going to be successful, but you had to only choose one, which one would you choose this moment? Come on, let your heart speak. Architecture. Okay, why?
It just gives me the opportunity to draw, which I really like to do, which I don't know. Lately, I've been drawing, and it relaxes me.
I love it. I love it. So give me the idea here. What are you drawing? Are you sketching houses, buildings, or what are you talking about?
Well, yeah, I've just been following YouTube tutorials because I didn't think that I could draw.
Yeah, and you found out that you can.
Following YouTube. Yeah, I found out that drawing is a skill that can be developed and not a talent that you're born with.
Well, I disagree for a moment, but let me support you. You have the artistic talent. So think of it like a lump of clay. You were born with that talent, Brandy, but then you started trying, you started watching things, and then you realize you're pretty good. Let me give an example, because I don't have the artistic talent when it comes to the physical artistic talent. And so I could watch the same videos that you've been watching on YouTube, and I couldn't be as good as you. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Okay, yeah.
Good. All right. I want you to embrace that. And I want the audience as a whole to realize Brandy was in fact born with this talent, and you've honed it into a skill. You see the difference? Great.
Yes.
So what are you drawing? Are you drawing buildings?
Houses. Lately, just houses.
Fantastic. Okay. Well, let's look at this, because I think we can combine these two eventually. But I'll reveal that in a moment. So getting clear is stage one on the path to meaningful work. So getting clear. What is it that Brandy wants to do? Well, she wants to be an architect. Well, do we test it with the sweet spot? And so, Brandy, you have the skill of drawing. You see dimensions. You can see things as they should be, and you can create them. All right, so that's great. And then you really love it. You just told us when you were in the midst of sketching out a design or something like that, it relaxes you and you really enjoy it. And then when you're all done with sketching it and you see it, this could be built into a home. I can design a home for somebody, a custom home for a family. The result of that makes you feel pretty darn good, doesn't it, Brandy?
It does, yeah.
All right, so that is the sweet spot exercise. She's good at it. She loves doing it, and it's a result that matters to her. Ding, 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 Brandy. So you're clear. Now the next stage is get qualified. Do you know what it takes to get qualified to get hired as an architect?
Yes, a lot of school, about 5 to 6 years of schooling from architecture programs.
All right. Now, how much is that going to cost? You got a ballpark idea? Have you checked out different schools to see what our bargain is versus our mid-range versus our super expensive option?
Yeah, for public schools, that in the area I was looking at, I'm looking at least $10,000 to $15,000.
Okay.
per semester.
Okay. And so you know what the total is, right? So you just add that
Mhm.
all up and
Mhm.
say, here's my amount. So you need to
Mhm.
run those numbers and listen, let's just do a solid school. It doesn't have to be the name brand school. Nobody really cares. Just you got to have
Mhm.
the
Mhm.
education because it is your experience that's going to really propel you forward in this industry. So let's get the
Mhm.
number in your mind. By the end of today, I want you to have a solid idea of the number. So, if it's 15 times 5, then you just run the numbers on that, right? So we have 75 grand, whatever that is. And let's get, this is what it's going to cost me. Now, then you got to look at your current financial situation. Do you have that money? Or are you going to have to save up for it or cash flow your way through it? What's your status?
Yeah, I definitely have to save or cash flow through it.
Okay, great. So what do we need to do there? We need to begin to adjust our budget. We need to think of where are some sacrifices? What can I sell? Can I take on a second job? Or, what do I need to do? And here's where the real estate comes in. I wonder if you don't take the short amount of time to get licensed as a realtor and keep your technology day job and sell houses on nights and weekends. And all of a sudden, Brande, we start making some real dough and the real estate license becomes that great second job that you can save up the money faster and allow yourself to cash flow through the architectural degree. How does that sound, Brande?
Sounds like a good idea.
It's a darn good idea if I do say so myself. And I'm glad you like
Yeah.
it. All right. Now, listen. So we have a short amount of time. We study for the real estate license, right? And that's going to be a short amount of time. You pass it. You start selling. And again, you show houses at nights and weekends. People are fine with that. They got jobs too. So you start selling 2 or 3 houses, and that becomes something that you've already had mentioned that you enjoy. And when you're showing houses, you're in that environment. You're in the area you want to be in anyway, and you're getting ideas for designing houses. And then you're going to cash flow your way through the architecture school. And 5-6 years from now, you've got a really killer side real estate business that has funded your education. And then you decide how much you want to do that as you step into architecture. So I think that's the path for you.
Yeah, I mean, it would work.
Definitely.
Definitely.
Yeah, guarantee it'll work. Now, you got to be patient, but are you willing to wait as long as it takes, Brande, to know that if I stay with it, I'm going to get where I want to be?
Oh, absolutely. 'Cause
All
I
right.
know what it feels like to not be in that spot.
That's right. Now, listen, one last thing. Change your mindset in this technology job. I know you're bored, but you need to change your mindset from I'm not bored anymore because I got a day job that I can do with my eyes closed, and that's funding my future. You see how that's a mindset change?
Yes.
I love
definitely.
it. All right, Brande, do you know what time it is? It's time to go.
What time is it?
It's time to go.
Time to go.
Time to go, Brande. Go. 844-747-2577. 844-747-2577. Let's go to Heather on the line in Los Angeles, California. Heather, you're on the Ken Coleman Show.
Hi, Ken. Thank you so much for taking my call. I'm so excited to talk to you.
Well, I'm equally excited to talk to you. What's going on?
So I've got this seasonal job that I love, but I'm not sure if I should keep it or if I should kind of phase out of doing it so I can move on to other things.
Well, I want to know what moving on to other things is and what that would look like, because it's possible that this seasonal job is something that you can keep to help fund that future, but I don't know that yet. So tell me, where do you want to go?
Right. So I'll start with the seasonal job. I am a high-end swim instructor here in Los Angeles.
Okay.
So I make really good money. My peak months are usually April to September. Just to give you an idea, last year I made $30,000 in April to September.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah. So, I mean, the money's really good and it's very steady once that time comes.
Right.
But then, September, the other half of the year, it's not a ton of work.
Yeah, I get it.
Yeah, and it's hard to find other jobs. So my goal eventually is to be almost a parent educator, much like Meg Meeker or, something like that eventually.
Okay.
I've been working in the childcare field for almost 10 years.
Okay.
And I've been trying to work in many different areas of childcare just so I can get that variety and that experience under my belt.
Okay.
So what I've been doing is I nanny usually during the school year, and then when summer comes, I kind of drop off and teach swim lessons.
Yeah.
But that doesn't work very well. The families, I'm sure as you know, having kids, they want someone that can be there all the time and is consistent. And so having those summers off when your kids are off is kind of not helpful.
No, I understand. So let's go back to where you eventually want to end up. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
You want to, if I understand, when you mentioned my friend Dr. Meg Meeker, she is a full-time pediatrician still, but she also writes books and she speaks. So do you want to be in the thought leader space where you are writing and speaking and creating content and resources to help parents be better at parenting?
Yes.
Okay, great. So here's the deal. You know that's going to take some time. You're going to have to start to develop content, then you got to test the content, then you got to edit the content, and keep doing this over and over and over again while getting yourself out there and beginning to build a tribe, thus having a platform. So that's going to take some time. And to me, the reason you're calling me today is you're going, okay, this is where I want to be. If I give up this really good money of being a high-end swim instructor, is that the right move for me? And it feels like it probably is, because you need steady income, and the steady income is what's going to get you in a place of stability to where when you're not doing the day job, okay, that you are constantly consuming content and then making it your own. So you're in that space. You're constantly reading parenting books. You've got your own methodologies and philosophies. And so you got to begin to test things. So, you're going to want an Instagram page and a Facebook page, and get stuff out on social media, and find local speaking gigs, and maybe find regional or local or even a national publication that eventually maybe carries your writing. You understand what I'm saying? This is going to take time. So you need
absolutely.
So you need a steady day job. So to me, my answer on the swim thing is I'd keep it if you could then find something in that seasonal period that works really well. You know what I mean? Whereas the nannying doesn't work. So the nannying's not a good option. It feels like to me you're going to have to either be a full-time nanny, which is a great option, because then you got steady stability, right? And if the kids are napping, what are you doing while they're napping? This is
working on everything that I'm trying to get to. Yeah.
Yes. Okay. You passed the test. That was a little pop quiz there. So I think nannying full-time is great. Or you're going to drop the nannying and you're going to have to something else that you can come in and out of. Or, what I like is the idea of nannying during the week, and see if you can move your swim lessons to either nighttime or weekends, meaning you're going to lose some of that business, but maybe you can keep some of it. I just try to get creative to keep, because you've established some credibility and some relationships in Los Angeles for high-end swim lessons. So that means you're dealing with a high-end clientele, and so they want you. So I try to make both work.
Okay, right, and that's what I've been doing. And I will say that my swim lessons, as I've done this over the years, I've been getting more and more that continue through the colder months. So right now I haven't even stopped since last year. I still have some swim lessons going. It's just not quite as many as during the summer.
So then get serious. Go. The more swim lessons I get, the closer I get to my goals. And when when I'm stacking money up, it's giving me money to be able to launch some things and try some things and go to some conferences and start hanging around people using the proximity principle. So I appreciate the call. I think you're so sharp. I think you got a great head on your shoulders. I think you just need to do what's best for you stability wise. Remember, the day job is what kept me going for 9 years. Do you understand what I'm saying? Or actually, I should take that back, 7 years until I got to Ramsey Solutions. But, my day job was all about stability because it's funding my future. So you just need to not have any interruption. So either increase the swimming or go full-time nannying, part-time swimming. And I like both of those options. I don't care which one you choose, just whatever's best for you. Make sense?
Okay. Yes, it does. Thank you so much, Ken.
Heather, you're a rock star. And before I let you go, I want you to hear this from me. You will get there if you completely immerse yourself in the mission behind your why. And what I mean by that is your why is you want to help parents win. And there's something that's fueling that. And so that's your why. That's purpose. Mission is how you get there. But if you stay with it and completely figure out the right path for you by just studying other parenting experts and how they got where they are, what are they doing, and you really focus, you will get there. Do you hear me?
I do. Thank you. That means a lot to me. Thank you.
Well, don't you dare quit. Don't you dare. All right? Don't you dare. All right. Awesome. 844-747-2577 is the number. We'll get back to the phones shortly. Hey, I just want to mention Day 2 here. I mean, this is historic, and I just want to say a huge Thank you. I'm reaching out. Here it is. Here's my hug over the video airwaves. We're so excited about YouTube and what's happening here. This is day 2 of being live. And so could I ask you, if you're enjoying this message, however you have engaged, and now you're here on YouTube, would you subscribe while you're watching right now? Give us a like. Because apparently the team's telling me, I don't know what any of this means, but I'm just going to tell you, when you like this live episode right now, YouTube pays attention to that, and they're going to put this positive message of hope and a clear path to meaningful work out there in front of people who are searching for this type of stuff on the vast, what would you call this? The plains of YouTube, okay? And so you would help us by liking it and then sharing the episode because as we are live here now, later today, it will be on demand. So help us out with that. We sure would appreciate it. 844-747-2577. Here we go. I love getting the questions live here in the chat room. This is from Melissa. She says, hey, Ken, are personality assessments useful in understanding who we are and what careers would suit us best? Okay, I'm so glad you sent this question. I'm deeply passionate about this. Melissa, personality assessments are great for showing us our inner wiring. I do not believe that personality assessments are good for showing us what careers that would be best for us. I don't buy it. I'm going to tell you something. I'm stepping on some toes here. There are 5 or 6 best-selling books out there that are largely their career books, and they're based on your personality profile. But let me tell you what happens with that science and why I don't like it. Well, this is your personality type, and so we know that personality types kind of are wired this way and they react this way. So there's a long list of careers that might be a good fit for you. So hear what they're saying. Here's a long list of careers that might be a fit for you. So it's kind of playing the odds, all right? And I'm not saying that the information they're putting out is wrong or misleading. Hear me. However, personality tests are great for personal awareness. How am I wired? How do I react to fear? How do I react to disappointment? How do I react to love? How do I react to affirmation? That's what personality tests are great for. So they it's like your default mode, right? If we think about a computer, we got default programming. This is what you were created with and how you're wired. So it's wonderful for self-awareness. But I don't believe you should take any kind of lead from, well, this is my personality type, to what kind of career. Let me give you an example. The idea is that if you're an introvert, well, maybe you should do something where you're not engaging with people. And I think that's, again, misleading. Introverts are wonderful with people. They just don't like large crowds and big noisy stuff. But one-on-one, I have some introvert friends that blossom like a flower in a one-on-one situation, and they're great in interpersonal skills. So this is the idea here. You don't want to be misled. So my process is what I believe in, and I'll break it down real quick. You need to know what you do best. This is talent that can be honed into skills, okay? Then what do you love to do? What work? When you look forward to it, you get excited about it. When you're in the middle of it, time seems to disappear. And then what results of your work really fire you up? These are the 3 elements of the sweet spot. What you do best, what you love to do most, and the results that matter most. Within that sweet spot are multiple jobs and career paths that all will give you the juice. So information that you get from a personality test, it's helpful to being self-aware, but I would not lean on it for career. All right, Adam Louse writes in, I'm scared to apply for jobs that will get me to the next step. I know I'm good enough and I know I can do the job, but I always doubt myself. Would you mind helping me get in the right mindset? Yeah, so the best thing I can tell you this is you need to write down as clear as you can on paper what you're doubting. You got to get it out of your head. Oh, Ken, I'm just doubtful. Well, if you were on the show with me, I'd go, tell me what your number one doubt is. Okay, here's what I know from what you just said. I know I'm good enough and I can do the job, but I doubt myself. What is the doubt specifically? Because on one hand, you're going, I know I'm good enough, so you know you have what it takes, but you're still doubting something. I want to know what the doubt is. And then the second thing I want you to write down for yourself, where is the doubt coming from? Is it in your past? Did somebody who you admire in your life, that you look up to, did they tell you at some point that you didn't have what it takes, or did they make you feel like you didn't have it? Was there an experience in your life? Something that happened to you? By the way, this goes for so many people right now. What is the doubt? Write it down. Well, I doubt that. And be honest. You can be intimate on a piece of paper. Nobody's looking at it. And then where's the doubt coming from? Because here's what I know. Doubt is a liar. Fear is a liar. Doubt's the ugly cousin to fear. And they just sit right here on our shoulders and they tell us that we don't have what it takes. So, Adam, if you do that, that will help you get in the right mindset, because once we identify the doubt, where it's coming from, and we know that it's a lie, so then what's the truth? What's the opposite? I think that's where you get the mindset. And you have to focus on that truthful thought. And the more you focus on that and not on the doubt, then you get victory. See, mindset's all about what we focus on. I don't have time to get into this, but look up the reticular activating system. We know from neuroscience that the brain has a filter, and it's called the reticular activating system. And what we focus on, our brain then goes out and takes pictures of it. So you're focusing on these doubtful thoughts, and guess what's happening? Your brain is going out and taking pictures of your doubtful thoughts and verifying the lie. So there you go. One more question. Con writes in, how do you continue to motivate yourself through the stressful deadline, time pressure for work activities that you enjoy doing? Boy, that's a loaded question. I think the way you worded the question is where your problem is. How do I motivate myself through stressful deadlines? Well, then you're going to have to understand, if I don't meet the deadline, what's the other end of that deal? I get reprimanded and I'm going to eventually lose my job, or something bad's going to happen. So I don't think motivation is the issue. I think what's going on is you're overwhelmed and you've got too many deadlines. And so we got to get to the point where we say no strategically. We go to, look, I can nail this deadline. I can get this done, but I can't do this plus this plus this. And so you have to prioritize, or help your leader help you prioritize. That's what's going on. Because if you've got all these deadlines and bad things happen if you don't meet the deadlines, the motivation is there. So I think you've worded the whole thing wrong. So I think you're overwhelmed. And by the way, being overwhelmed, folks, is one of the 5 causes of buildup that actually make you feel burned out. Burnout's not a thing. I write about that at kencoleman.com. You can go check that article out. I'm not going to cover that right now. So thanks for the chat questions. I want to move on. But real quick, before I talk about the principle of the pencil, and I'm very excited about this, I want to make sure that you know we've got a great new quiz. It's called Should I Quit My Job? It's 20 questions. It takes less than 3 minutes. It's at kencoleman.com. Thousands of people have engaged with this already. Had a bunch of calls on yesterday's show saying, hey, Ken, I took the quiz and I found out that I'm doing the right thing in the wrong place, or I'm doing the wrong thing in the wrong place, or I got verification that I'm doing the right thing in the right place. You know, whatever your situation is, we got 4 categories. It'll put you there and it gives you clarity, and it's that nudge that you're going to need to make a change. So check it out. Should I Quit My Job quiz at kencoleman.com. Okay, this is very exciting. Nathan, we gotta zoom in here, my director, on this pencil sharpener. I'm very excited. I brought in the old school pencil sharpener. Then we got this, because I don't know if they're going to hear it. Here we go. Oh my gosh, folks, that is exciting. Old school pencil sharpener. Why? I love pencils, and I'm going to tell you why I love pencils. I'm going to teach this through the principle of the pencil. And here it is. The reason I love pencils is because years ago, I was writing some content and I got all locked up because I had a pen and on paper, and I was writing stuff down. And just like the old images you've seen from old TV shows or old movies, when somebody's on a typewriter and they'd be typing something and they'd make a mistake, what would they do? And they'd rip the paper out of the typewriter, and they would, I'll do this on the air. They would ball it up in frustration and they'd throw it, right? So I'm going to throw it. So they just throw it right there to the wastebasket. And what's going on in that moment? There's a tremendous amount of frustration because they feel like, I messed up and now I've got to start over. That's what's happening in that visual. Now, I understand some of you Gen Z and millennials have no idea, have never seen a TV show that old or a movie that old, but it's there. And that was the old kind of situation. You would, on the typewriter, and you messed up, pull it out, ball it up, throw it away, and now I got to start over. And that analogy is what's keeping many of you from starting something right now. And so I want to give you the freedom of the principle of the pencil. Here we go. Now, what happens when I use a pencil? Okay, so to give you the visual here. And by the way, the Ken Coleman Show pencil, I use pencils. Look at this. Got the old school eraser, by the way. This is golden. I mean, this is golden stuff. All right. And so I write down the caller's notes here on my moleskin. So if I've got an idea here, I got the pencil out. And so what happens when we start creating, or we start a new initiative, a new job, a new business idea, whatever it is? Or we begin to just think, what is my calling? And so when we begin the process of thinking, we want to get it out of our head. So when I come to this page here, I'm going to, number one, sketch. That's what I'm doing. I'm sketching. So I'm going to start writing down some ideas, or I'm going to draw some models, or I'm going to create a logo, a design. You get the idea. This is what creatives do. So they begin the sketch. That's process one. Process two, they step back and look at it. And this is where the power of the principle of the pencil comes in. When they want to make a change, they want to erase. So they go in here and they erase it. They make the edits. And then it leads to step three. They keep sketching, or they keep creating. Let me break it down. I'm going to put my thought, I'm going to create, put it out there. I'm going to step back and look at it. And as I make edits, what do? Do I rip the paper out in frustration and ball it up and throw it away? Oh, that sucked. I got to start over. No, what do? I edit. I come in and erase. And now I can keep moving. I can keep creating. So you sketch, you erase, and you keep sketching. So that's get it out, edit it. That means I look at what I want to remove, what do I want to improve, and now I keep moving forward. So I want you to have the mindset here as you begin to think about, this is the new path in my life, whatever it is. Use the principle of the pencil. What am I doing? I'm just trying. Here's what the principle says. When you are trying, you are clarifying your vision and verifying your direction. Let me say it again. The principle of the pencil says, when you are trying, you are clarifying your vision, and then you are verifying your direction. I'm telling you, folks, it gives you tremendous freedom to think and live in pencil. And by the way, if you can get one of these babies, the X-Acto vacuum mount, it's just so fun to turn the crank, right? Everything's gone technology, baby. No. And by the way, let me go back to that sound. I want you to listen to this. What's happening there that's bothering Madison so much? It's the sound of the grind. But what's happening? It's grinding, but what happens? It goes from dull to sharp. And the process of trying and figuring out who you are and what you're supposed to do and why you want to do it, it's the same thing as putting that dull pencil in the pencil sharpener. So there you go, 844-747-2577. I'm trying to bring pencils back, Madison. I'm trying to bring them back. By the way, some people are asking, at some point, are we gonna sell Ken Coleman Show pencils? We have no plans for that right now. It's not a major priority. So you can come here to Nashville, and I'll come out and say hi to you and take a picture and bring you one of these beauties. Can we see that there? Well, this one's, look at this. I've used it so much that you can't even see the Ken Coleman Show logo. That's fantastic. That's even better. All right, let's get back to the phones. One more call today. Kevin's on the line in San Antonio, Texas. Kevin, you're on the Ken Coleman Show.
Hey, Ken. Thanks for the call. I appreciate it.
Yes, sir. What's going on?
Okay, I'm wondering if I potentially apply, and if I go through the process, and if the job is awarded to me, I'm wondering if I seek a promotion, will I get out of my current career sweet spot?
You need to re-ask that with some confidence, because you are so unclear that I don't even understand your question. So restate that, and I want you to state it with confidence. What's before you? What are you worried about? Say it again.
I guess I'm worried about if I move up in this organization, I'm not going to be happy doing what I'm doing.
Okay, so you have a promotion in front of you, and you're
potentially,
worried,
yeah, potentially.
And if you take it, you're worried. Oh gosh, if I take it and I don't like it, have I messed my career up?
Yeah, because kind of going back is going to be a really interesting process. Something that I don't want to do in this organization.
All right, so let me set you free. Okay. First of all, the promotion isn't even in front of you yet. It just could be. There's talks of it. Okay. So you're worried about something that A, hasn't happened yet. All right. That's never a good mindset to be in. Number two, let's assume that it comes to you tomorrow. What do I want you to do? So that you don't make the mistake that you're actually worried about. You've got to retreat to what I teach, Kevin, which is the sweet spot. So you need to ask yourself, when it comes to you, you got to look at it and you got to say, I've got to go do my homework and I got to get clarity on three things. Number one, do I have the skill set, the talent to do this work? Does it allow me to use what I do best? Number two, will I love this work? Like, you can sit down and talk to people who are doing that work. Yes or no?
Yes.
Of course you can. And so you can find out what their day looks like. I'm talking from the moment they step into the office to the moment they leave. What is involved in this deal? Do I know that I know that I know that I will love this actual work? The tasks, the functions, the roles, will I love it? And then the third question is, what are the results of this work? In this new position, what results is it throwing off? And then, will that mean something to me? Will I be fired up to go home and tell the wife and tell the kids, call my buddies and go, hey, man, I'm loving the new gig. This is what we do. And man, I just love it. I love being a part of the results of this work. Do you understand those three questions, Kevin?
Yes.
That is the ultimate litmus test I just gave you. And if the answer to all three of those is yes, this allows me to use the skills, the things that I do best. Yes, I really love the actual work itself. And yes, it spits off results that matter to me. I have a connection to them. Man, this is a no-brainer. The only way you blow it, the only way you fail is if you do something stupid. And I don't think you're going to do anything stupid.
Okay, man. That's awesome. That's really insightful. Thank you.
There it is, my man. It's that simple. Don't overthink it. Go, Kevin, go. Oh, my goodness. I love it when people get clarity. Did you hear that? I mean, did you people out there, did you hear Kevin's clarity? Stop over complexifying things. We want to retreat to clarity, which is what? I get to clarity by simplifying complexity. Those three questions are the absolute clarity finders. And if you don't get a yes to all of them, guess what Kevin does? All right. It's not where I'm supposed to be right now. And I'm going to go look for that role. The sweet spot, folks, is where you're using what you do best as tools to perform work. Oh, it gives you the juice. And then it creates results that matter deeply to you. That's the sweet spot. And when the ball is when the ball is struck by the bat or the instrument on the sweet spot, two things happen. Number one, it feels effortless, even though it's not. And two, maximum, optimal performance takes place. The ball goes faster and farther. That's waiting for you. Work that matters deeply to you, it's waiting for you. And by the way, the world needs you to do it. So that's the journey we're on here on the Ken Coleman Show. My time is up, sadly, but guess what? We'll be here tomorrow. Same time. Before I let you go, you matter and you do have what it takes. Thanks for joining us. This is the Ken Coleman Show. Press on.